Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing good. Okay, just making sure I've got the right mic on there. I think I do. Okay guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And of course make sure you do share it with your friends as well. It does really help promote the channel. What is up, Tony Gold? As always, my man, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. What is up, Eric? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Entering New Zealand CAD longs now. Okay, we'll have a look. I'll go for the USD side of things first, but then I will get to your requests. Coffee Spinner, what is up? Welcome to today's live stream, guys. Market analysis, both technical and psychology, 100%. Appreciate it. Thoughts on pound CAD and pound NZD. Yeah, we'll take a look. And then pound NZD is looking quite interesting, I must say. But we'll go through both of them. Morning, Ivan. Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing good. Okay, let's get into it. So I'll go for USD side of things first. DXY, USD majors, and gold and silver. We'll do a quick look at our perps trading platform, and then we'll go through some requests and take a look at some of what you guys are trading or looking to trade, or any ideas you got. What's up, Bashi, my man? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's get to it. So, excuse me. We'll start with the dollar. So dollar's looking interesting. We are still kind of finding support in this area. And again, this is essentially what I want to see from the DXY. I don't want to see heavy bearish momentum breaking to the lows, because of course that means that the bullish bias I had is invalidated at that point in time. What we are seeing is a very kind of corrective, slow, even start to become sideways now, which again is a sign, a testament to the buyers at this area, that we are finding support and potentially could be on our way to the upside. I'm not really confirming that yet. Momentum hasn't really kicked in. Somewhat of a double bottom at the lows here, but nothing really convincing. Price has still been trading within this descending channel, and I wouldn't really say we've got kind of a clear-cut breakout of that. If anything, we've kind of got rejection of the high, which could potentially mean another wave to the downside. So dollar is finding support. Check. That's the key thing we're looking for. Now we need to see kind of momentum kick in and the real buyers kick in to really indicate that, okay, not only is support forming, but we're actually going to make a move to the upside now, because the plan is pretty simple with the dollar. We are looking at this bullish structure, again, from a swing bias, higher highs and higher lows. The plan is, can we catch the next higher low for potentially the next higher high, or at least an equal high. So that is still very much the thought process I have with the dollar, looking for that long-term buy. But again, not quite ready yet. Still seeing rejection at the high end of the channel. If anything, this could mean another drop. So I'm being patient, but the bias is still very much there, looking for some buys. Euro USD, pretty much the same situation as well. We've got this ascending channel, which looked at one point, maybe price was hinting at a breakout. Again, not really seeing the momentum take charge and really get that clear-cut breakout of that channel, and then closing a tad bullish this morning. So I'm still liking what we're seeing. We're still overly quite corrective, which again shows that even though, yes, we are trending to the upside, the buys don't really have much momentum. We are really struggling at this area of supply, and perhaps that sell is only a matter of time. So I'm very interested with the price action for Euro. I think Euro is my favorite pair to potentially open a new position. I'm currently still in Pound Aussie, but if I'm going to enter a new trade this week, Euro USD is probably the pick of the bunch at the moment. So again, in terms of what I'm looking for, either a more convincing break, that could be my entry signal in itself, taking the break of that counter trend line with targets back at the low here, and probably secondary targets back at the low here at 1.14040. Or if price does push up into resistance again, and maybe I see a really significant reaction, that could be my entry as well. Entries there, stop loss above the high, and again, same target. So Euro, I'm still very short bias. We're trading in a very interesting area. I like how we're trading as well. Very corrective, very tiresome. It looks like the sellers are starting to step in, but not quite there yet with entries. That's the main takeaway. I'm not quite pulling the trigger just yet. So either we do get the breakout of the counter trend line, or price perhaps comes back to test resistance again, and then gives me another reaction, which is convincing enough of an entry. So that's still very much the take there on Euro USD. But again, I'll be keeping a close eye to see what the DXY is doing at the same time. If the dollar's giving me some healthy signs as well as Euro, great. If Euro's looking okay, but the dollar's not quite there, I might be quite hesitant with the entries. In terms of Pound USD, so this one did see some nice downside. Pound was a little bit weak yesterday, actually. So we did see a bit of a move down, but nothing crazy. If anything, this could actually be another correction for price to continue higher. So I'm not quite convinced about any selling pressure just yet. I mean, price is respecting a pretty key level of resistance, so I would imagine to see some downside regardless. Even if the market is still going to go higher, I kind of would expect to see a bit of a correction anyway before we do continue higher. Potentially, pound is rejecting this area to have a big collapse. That could be the play as well, but I'm not quite convinced. I think if you were to drop to the lower time frames, like even the 50-minute chart, there might be some nice shorts coming back into this area or this general area of consolidation. There might be a lower high to take advantage of for Pound USD, but I wouldn't look for much more than just that bearish leg back into lows. As I said, if I scale to the 4-hour chart, this looks like a correction, looks like a flag pattern, which is a bullish pattern. And again, you can see we're trading into areas of demand. You've got an area slightly below us, which is a strong area of demand as well. It did kickstart this bullish move. We could tap into that before potentially continuing. So all in all, I'm not quite convinced with the shorts for pound. I know we're respecting a really key level. This is our lower high, which gave us this low. So technically speaking, we are still technically bearish as long as price does not break through that high. But we've had a really strong move to the upside, not really seeing heavy selling pressure, and it looks like a correction. So I'm very much staying put with Pound USD. I'm not quite convinced. Lower time frame, sure, I think there is a sell to take, but the key component of that is a short-term trade. I'm looking for swing positions which I can hold for a few days, maybe a few weeks if things go really well. And I'm not quite seeing that with pound. I think euro looks a lot better, so I'd rather focus my efforts there. But some short-term sells do make sense to me, so I can see some opportunities there on the lower time frames. Dollar CAD still pretty bullish for. It looks like it is hinting at a move to the upside. I mean, mostly consolidation since we last spoke. But again, I'm looking at the daily chart, and that had a really convincing close on Thursday, which really sets the tone for me in terms of the direction. We've had a really significant level of support, resistance, resistance, and for the most part, support again. And of course, that really strong close on Thursday, really indicating to me that, okay, strength is here, buys are back in town, and we can probably see a push back to the highs. So that is very much my expectation with dollar CAD, at least a push back to 1.386. We could go further if USD does really see some strength, because I think CAD's a little bit weak now, which is kind of helping out dollar CAD. But so if USD can really gain some strength, that will really set us to the upside. But I think a nice intraday opportunities on the cards here. I was actually speaking about a slightly bigger retracement for dollar CAD. I spoke about possibly a retest of this trend line, another retest of this support level for a buy. But it looks to me that we might have had this impulse. We're consolidating and getting ready for perhaps another impulse, which could present some nice buys on a pullback on a retest of this same range to take it back into highs. So this could be, again, a nice intraday opportunity, maybe on like an hourly chart, 30 or 15-minute chart, if you really want to refine that entry, I think could make sense. But what I'm starting to anticipate now with dollar CAD is somewhat of a bullish structure starting to form, which could take us back to resistance at 1.387. So yeah, I'm pretty bullish on dollar CAD. Of course, right now it's kind of just consolidation, so it's a bit 50-50. But let's say if we do get a strong break to the upside, well, that really shows us that the buyers are back in control, and I'll be looking at some intraday pullbacks for a push to the high. So that is very much the plan there with dollar CAD. Aussie dollar, looks like we're hinting at move down. We are still just about respecting support, which is why I'm not quite convinced yet, but I do think that is happening. It looks to me that we have formed that head and shoulder pattern, that right shoulder's come into play after the lovely breakout of this ascending channel, which I'm looking at as basically the correction of this bearish leg, because this bearish leg here actually went and broke structure. Then since that's happened, we've had a lovely pullback. I'm anticipating this to be the next lower high after this high. So if that's the case, I'm expecting us to at least come back and test those lows. So I'm pretty bearish on Aussie, looking at impulse, pullback, another impulse. So very, simple pattern at play here. In terms of trading it, I did speak about a retest of this level resistance, which unfortunately just about didn't happen. Again, we spoke about the head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder. But again, looking for price to actually test that resistance before shorting. Unfortunately, that was not the case. But I did also mention, if we were not to get that opportunity there, waiting for the break of this neckline or support level, that would be a convincing sign that, okay, we probably are going to continue lower. So if we can wait for that breakout, either shorting on the breakout or waiting for pullbacks intraday, I think is a smart move, and targets back to the low look like a pretty likely target for Aussie dollar. So pretty bearish on this one. Again, that's really the theme for me with the USD pairs, anticipating some strength for the dollar. I wouldn't say it's quite here yet, but I'm looking at these individual USD pairs individually, and they're all kind of showing signs that maybe dollar strength is likely to come. Of course, things can change quite quickly, and if something does change and affects my bias, I'll let you guys know. But for now, I do anticipate more downside. So yeah, wait to see if we can get that clear break, because of course we might find support and we might rally, which makes things a bit awkward. But if we can break to the downside, I do expect to see somewhat of a trend form. And it's pretty much the same setup for New Zealand dollar as well. Really corrective on the way up. This did break out of that channel. And again, I spoke about the same pattern, another head and shoulder pattern here. So you got the left head, right shoulder, but of course we can see price hasn't quite come back to retest it. We could still make that move potentially, so I'm not going to rule that out. Maybe price is quite choppy right now, respecting support. We could see a move up before coming back down, but it's the same logic applies. You've got a couple lower highs here, looking at another one, somewhat of a rough trend line connecting the dots there. I think a retest of that area makes a lot of sense. Or again, you could wait for a break of support here. Let's say if we do get a strong break of that level, I think that's a strong sign to say the bears have really stepped up and we're likely to push into lows now. So either shorting on the breakout or waiting for some intraday retests, I think makes sense, or intraday pullbacks make a lot of sense there. So Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar for me, kind of getting identical setups really. So kind of picking between the two. But yeah, I think if that support breaks, we're really on the cards. If it doesn't, I would say keep an eye on resistance up at 0.596. In terms onto my favorite pair, gold. I'm joking, this is not my favorite pair at all. My analysis hasn't changed for about a month really for gold. And yeah, I'm still not interested in trading. I know I sound like a broken record. But yeah, it's the case. It is literally the case. Nothing's changed. Of course, we analyze gold every day. Keep up to date. Of course, one of these days, something is going to change. Something is going to happen. Momentum is going to come back into the market. But as of yet, that's not the case. Of course, maybe maybe the New York session we get moving, I don't know. But as of right now, it looks pretty dead. I'm sure intraday there's some pullback opportunities. I mean, some mean reversion opportunities, buying low, selling high. I did speak about buying at support again last week and coming to this week, yesterday. And yeah, it has provided some nice support there again. Again, essentially when the market conditions are choppy like this, dropping to lower time frames and just trying to pick lows and highs is actually the most effective way to trade, and not trying to look for continuation patterns or pullback opportunities, because you're not really seeing a trend here to begin with. So looking for pullbacks and continuation patterns, you can maybe get away with it if you're very strict and very disciplined and very, very focused. But on average, it's a very choppy market, so you don't really want to be favoring those type of opportunities. You're better off just going elsewhere and looking for something that is actually at least lightly trending. Gold is just not really doing that at all. So buying low, selling high, as I mentioned earlier, are some smart ideas. Waiting for price to push into resistance, waiting for rejection. Likewise with support, really nice rejection with that candle overnight. Hasn't given us much upside, but it's a nice reaction to begin with. So yeah, in terms of the higher time frames, like the 4-hour chart, as I've said for the past month, just waiting for price to make a move into those areas and looking for rejection. That's all I'm looking for. Nothing crazy. In the middle is not really where I want to operate, and definitely not where I want to be putting a swing trade. In terms of silver, we're starting to form our own kind of miniature consolidation now. Things are getting a bit choppy here. You've got the swing high back at 39.4 roughly, 39.5, and you've got the swing low here around 36.2. So depending which we break out, depending which way we see momentum, will dictate my bias kind of for silver. If we do clear resistance well, I'm pretty bullish. I'm looking for a push to the high. If we do clear support well, I'm looking for a push into the low. Again, I'm still long-term bullish on silver, just like I'm still long-term bullish on gold. I really like this level for a nice break and retest. I've spoken about this a few times, but again, we're nowhere near it, so don't need to go into too much detail. But if we do break to the downside, perhaps that could kickstart a pullback into that area. Then maybe we can speak about some longer-term buys later on. But at the moment, silver's just back and forth, so not really interested with price action in this area until we can see some convincing momentum outside of that, and then probably some intraday opportunities to continue that momentum back to highs or back to lows. So yeah, silver becoming a bit choppy now, maybe kind of copying what gold's doing, so kind of putting that to one side. But in summary, I am still looking for USD strength, which I wouldn't say is quite here yet, but that's kind of what I'm looking for. Although the DXY did reject the high of the channel, which might mean another bearish move before we do turn bullish, so going to keep an eye on that. But yeah, still looking for buys for a swing trade. Anyway, so I'll go through our Perps platform quickly just to showcase that to you guys in case you haven't seen it yet, and then we'll go through some requests. I can see there's a bunch of requests to get through. Price action not good as well today, Bashi. Well, it's only Tuesday. Hopefully the week can improve. Thank you for that message. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying the content, finding it useful, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe. It does really help out. And of course, the comment section is there for you to drop chats, ask questions. So do not be shy. What's up, Tashi? Good morning. Hope you're well. Dima, what is up? Welcome to the stream. FH, yes, we'll take a look at Aussie yen as well. Annie, I'm doing good. Thank you. Hope you're doing good as well. Are you in any trade? Yes, I'm long on pound Aussie for almost 2 weeks now. It's about a week and 3 quarters. So yeah, I'm in that position, been sitting in it. A couple other markets I'm looking to see if I can trade this week. I'll go through my watch list shortly. Yes, we can go through that as well. Okay, a bunch of pairs to go through. What's up, Lighton? Welcome. It's good to see you. It has been a minute. Work around here. No joke. Yeah, good to see you, my man. Good to see you on the stream. Okay, so quickly go through our perps platform, and then we'll take a look at some pairs that you guys have mentioned in the chat. We've got a bunch of them to go through, but this is our perps trading platform. If you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't been in the streams, you probably would have, but if you haven't, this is our perps trading platform, which is under Zenthrix, a project we've been working on for since the start of the year, looking at incorporating AI, building AI tools, AI bots as well, and using AI intelligence to kind of help improve the journey of the retail trader, so to speak. And this is a component of a project we've been working on, which allows our traders to trade perps. And this is our platform for it. Similar to kind of any trading platform, you can buy, sell, set orders, set take profit, stop loss, market orders, limit orders, stop orders. As with kind of all kind of trading platforms. The beauty of this is everything's decentralized on the Solana blockchain, so you can connect your Solana or your Ethereum wallet to the platform and begin trading straight away, whether you want to go live or in a demo server. We do have a demo server which will allow you to request test USDC, bit of a tongue twister, and you can trade the test currency, test out the platform, use it, and get a feel for it. At the moment, you can only trade cryptocurrencies on the platform, but in the future there will be FX, indices, stocks as well on the platform, which you can trade in a perps environment. And the beauty of it is you have your own personal AI assistants there. This is where you can chat with your AI agent and get analysis in terms of risk, market sentiment, trades, setups, opportunities in the market as well. It is called Miko AI, so you can look at it as the AI version of me, but it gives you analysis and keeps you up to date with everything with the market you're looking at. At the moment, it's only on the major cryptocurrencies, because in terms of data, the smaller cryptocurrencies won't provide as much, but the major ones like BTC, Ethereum, Solana, you can use them. So if you're interested in the platform, check it out. Links in the description to the platform. You can test it out and begin trading yourself. Even if you don't have a wallet, you can connect using your email as well. So make sure you do check it out if you haven't done so already. Okay, so we'll go through, I believe, we had some few requests at the beginning. Eric said he's in New Zealand CAD longs. Now, I'm not sure about that one, in all honesty. I'm not sure about New Zealand CAD longs. For two reasons. Number one, I'm not really seeing much bullish momentum or anything really indicating bullish structure for New Zealand CAD. The market is very, very, very flat. So looking for buys, I would have to be right at the lows of the range for it to make sense for buys. And of course, the second reason is the location, because you're kind of really in the middle. So if I'm going to take buys for New Zealand CAD, price will have to be at this area. Have to be. Not that you can't successfully take a buy from here and price can push up. Of course it can. I'm just not really seeing much evidence to back up that buying opportunity. And I'm not saying that your trade won't play out. Of course, I'm just giving you my honest opinions. I mean, again, maybe long-term New Zealand CAD is set to break higher. We'll have to find out. But the way I see it, New Zealand CAD is just very much within a range. So if I'm going to take buys, it's because price has made a way to the low of the range. Maybe fake the low as well. That'll be a nice confluence to add. And then we're seeing some heavy rejection at that low that indicates price is likely to respect it and turn back up again. Therefore, I can place a trade. Basically, similar to the trade I have with Pound Aussie. Your price approached major support, respected it pretty well. Nice rejection. I hopped into the long. If I can see that for New Zealand CAD at the same low, I think that would be a really great trade to take. In the middle, that's where things can get a little bit ugly. Even a stop loss placement here is a little bit at risk. A little bit of fluctuation can take you out. Of course, that could happen here too, but you're a little bit more safer here. But price has to work a little bit harder to break lower than when price is in the middle of a range. So yeah, I'm not too sure about the New Zealand CAD longs. Again, I'm sure you got your reasons of why you did take the trade, but looking at it from my analysis, I'm not seeing much there to support longs or even shorts, to be honest. If I was looking to short, I would want price to be at resistance here as well. So not a big fan of New Zealand CAD's price action at the moment. Pound CAD and Pound NZD. So we'll take a look at those. So Pound CAD's at some major resistance, respecting it pretty well. We did see a nice move to the downside yesterday evening. If you scoot to the daily chart, you can see we are testing some major resistance. And altogether, Pound CAD is just moving sideways. It's just a market that is ranging, equal highs, equal lows, very, very flat price action. We did see quite a beautiful swing there to the upside. Now, is price going to respect resistance? Are we going to come back down? I'm looking for that move. I would be pretty bearish on Pound CAD. Excuse me. In terms of shorts, we did see a nice entry signal here. So let's say if you hopped in on this candle here, really nice commanding breakout and bearish engulfing candle. Momentum has kind of gone against you a little bit. I probably would still be in the trade. There's nothing really indicating to get out yet. I would probably still hold that position. If you're not in the trade, then I probably would wait for price to test resistance again and give us another indication that momentum is back with the bears. And then, of course, same situation, hop into the trade, stops above the high. All we're really doing here is betting that resistance is going to hold and that the range is going to continue. Because, of course, for us to take a loss here, price has to essentially break to the upside or at least fake to the upside. So, yeah, I am looking at price turning around and seeing a pushback down. If you're not in the trade, I'd wait for like a double top pattern to form, something of that nature. If you're on the trade, then yeah, I would try and see if I can hold on to that and see if I can catch a swing. The only negative thing about shorting at the highs is that the trend is bullish. So technically we are going counter trend and we are kind of trying to fade the high here. So it does make the opportunity slightly more aggressive in terms of taking the shorts, but it makes sense. All we're looking to do is catch the high. And in terms of risk to reward, if you can see a full swing to the low, you're looking pretty good as well. So it makes sense. In terms of Pound NZD, I'm looking at buys for this one. I was actually hoping for a slightly deeper pullback before entering some longs. It's a very similar position to my Pound Aussie trade. They're both kind of very similar currency pairs. So if Pound Aussie is going to trend higher, normally Pound NZD is going to do the exact same thing and vice versa. But if I expand to the daily chart, I was looking for a slightly deeper pullback, saw coming back into the high here, just for a slightly deeper test of the level we broke out of. So this is essentially the range we've had, equal highs, equal lows. I was looking if price can come a little bit deeper and then look for some longs. And of course, next target will be the next major level of resistance, which would be this high here. So the plan was a pullback into this area, prior resistance in the 4-hour time frame, slight consolidation, really commanding candle broke out of that area, so it's acting like a nice area of demand on the 4-hour chart. It would be a really nice confluence to see price come back and test that area as well as the daily level we just mentioned, and then see a strong reaction off the back of that. That alone would be a very nice entry. Stops underneath the entry candle and targets back into high, maybe initial targets, the high over there on the left. But yeah, Pound NZD I'm pretty bullish on. It's a pair we spoke about during the weekly analysis. I think it's a really nice setup. And there's a pair on my watch list as well. So I'm actively looking to trade this. But I would want price to push slightly further to the downside before I do look for any entries. This was really the plan this week, around 2.275. So yeah, just hoping for a bit more downside for Pound NZD, but I am very bullish. I do see more upside. The only way I rethink my bias or possibly become bearish is if we do close back underneath this area on the daily chart, because of course then that will become essentially a fake out, and then I'll be looking at like this for a pushback down. So that's the only way I do become bearish, but of course that hasn't happened yet, so we're focused on the buys for now. So yeah, hopefully that made some sense. Okay, so next up we'll take a look at Aussie dollar and pound USD shorts now for Raphael. Okay, we can have a look see. This month's market has been dull for me. Yeah, I haven't seen much big moves, to be honest. Yeah, nothing. I mean, a lot of consolidation at the moment, to be honest. A lot of consolidation. That is true. It is August. It is August. But from September we should pick up, hopefully. Yeah, we'll go through Aussie dollar and pound USD. Ivan, yes, we can take a look at pound Swiss and Swiss yen as well. What's up, Cease Integrated? Welcome to the chat. Hope you are doing good. Oil, pound USD, pound yen. Okay, a bunch of pairs to go through. But actually, that's not enough requests, mate. You're missing a few pairs there, surely. Hey, what's up, Jay? Welcome to the stream. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Hope you're well. Long pound USD got an entry in the 4-hour time frame. Okay, interesting. I'm not actually really bearish on pound. I'm pretty bearish on euro. So naturally, that kind of makes me bearish on pound USD as well, at least from a swing bias. But the price action isn't quite there. So I'm not really looking to short pound USD, as I mentioned earlier. But I'll go through pound. I'm actually going to go through pound USD now and Aussie, and then a couple of CHF pairs as well. Lebzy, what is up? Hope you're well. Care to break down the pound Aussie long you're currently in? Yep, we can take a look as well at the pound Aussie. Need to make a list of all these pairs, but yeah, I'll definitely go through that in a bit. Okay, so in terms of pound USD, so I did say that I'm not actually quite liking the shorts in terms of the swing trade, because Euro USD I'm looking at a big swing back to lows. If I quickly just show that Euro USD, I'm looking at something like this potentially happening. Pound USD I'm not quite convinced, mainly for two reasons. Number one, it's had a very aggressive bullish move, so it's not like a healthy pullback. We had a pretty impressive bearish move, so I was kind of hoping for a more slow corrective grind, which normally does imply a pullback and the likeliness to continue lower. And the second reason, we broke a lot of key structure, support, turn resistance, that didn't really budge. And then of course we had this trend line as well, which price is broken pretty cleanly out of as well. So the lack of respect to those bearish confluences kind of does make me kind of want to pause a little bit with that bearish bias. But at the moment we're holding on to this level of resistance, which was our lowest swing high, which of course gave us this low. So it's a very significant level of resistance and just about keeping the market structure at least bearish. But yeah, we have been pretty bullish with this bullish move, so I can get that the longs do make sense. What I would suggest is being a bit careful, especially longing on the 4-hour chart, because this looks to me like it could just be a bull flag, and price has come back to test some areas of demand to the left here. You can see a brief consolidation followed by a really impressive bullish leg. Looks like price has already tapped into that and seeing some momentum as well. So if you are long here, possibly do catch a push to the up end of the channel, possibly even a break to resistance, possibly even break of that. So there is room to the upside, but as we do approach these areas, I would be careful that we don't do something like this or do something like this. So that's kind of where my focus will be in terms of managing the position. But in terms of along the 4-hour chart, I do think it's in a sensible place. We've seen a nice rejection there as well. It's just in terms of that risk to reward, I'll be a bit careful at those particular areas, because we could have a bigger sell. But for the most part, we have seen a lot of momentum. That momentum I'll still say is quite present. The way we have seen some downside just looks like a flag pattern to me. So yeah, I can definitely see some intraday buys there for pound, but at those respective areas, I would be quite watchful of the trade. However, in terms of Aussie dollar, I'm pretty bearish on this one. We are just about respecting support at the moment, so that has kind of slowed things down. But the way I see it, for Aussie dollar, we've had a lovely bearish move, breaking structure to our left here. And then we've had a really corrective grind, a really corrective pullback, which is great because that's normally what we're looking for in terms of a pullback. We don't really want to see strength in the pullback. We want to see slowness, corrective behavior, wicks, grindy price action, kind of what the characteristics are showing here. And then we had a really strong sell, followed by a bit of a pullback, which kind of looks like a head and shoulder pattern. Your left, a head, possibly a right shoulder, and of course this would be your neckline. So as I mentioned earlier, if Aussie dollar is really prepared to make a move to the downside, I do want to see a break of this support. And if we do get a break of that support, I do think it's only a matter of time before we do most likely head back to lows. So if that's the case, you can either look to short on the breakout or wait for some pullbacks, intraday pullbacks, maybe for a retest, and then take advantage of shorts in that regard, and a push to the lows makes the most sense. So I'm quite liking what I'm seeing for Aussie dollar. I'm pretty bearish on this one. I wouldn't short Aussie dollar now, simply because we're at support and the price could potentially rally from here. But if you were to break out, you could take the short on the breakout and stops above the level. Or if you want to really refine risk, you can wait for the retest and take your shorts in that way as well. But I wouldn't short now. I would wait for support to break. Excuse me. Okay, where were we? Okay, so I'll go through pound Swiss long and Swiss yen short for Ivan. And then we can take a look at oil and pound yen. Then I'll go through my pound Aussie position afterwards. So pound CHF longs, you said, or was it shorts? Got a memory of a goldfish here. Pound CHF long. Yeah, I'm not too sure about pound CHF long. Let me know what time frame you're working on as well. I would say pound CHF is more so in bearish territory at the moment. Looks to me that price is coming back into an area of consolidation to our left, which is acting like an area of supply. Really strong move to the downside there as well. So if I'm looking for longs for pound CHF, it would be more so in this area, which maybe is what you're talking about. Yeah, if I'm looking to long pound CHF, it would be more so around the 1.08 area. If anything, shorts make the most sense in this level, especially with how price is moving in this area. Very corrective, again showing signs that this bullish pressure is running out. We're seeing some strength come in with these candles. That could possibly mean a bit more downsides on the card. So bearish opportunities from 1.094 makes sense. If you are looking for longs, then pushing back to areas of demand here, or even just a retest of this high, is what makes sense. I mean, it was a really nice breakout, really commanding bullish candle here, which is a good sign. You don't really want to see breakouts which are slow, breakouts which have powerful candles breaking through, and normally the ones that really mean business. So if we do get pulled back into this area, again relatively corrective as well, I think that could be a smart place for a buy, maybe even testing that area of demand slightly below it too. So yeah, I quite like pound CHF longs, but only from 1.08. That's probably what you're mentioning. Longs here, I'm not quite convinced, especially where we're trading. So yeah, pound CHF longs I can get behind, but I would wait for that pullback to come into play. Swiss yen, still waiting for more development. The market is still really flat. You said Swiss yen shorts, I believe. Yeah, shorts. Yeah, so the way I see Swiss yen at the moment is that we're kind of just moving sideways. We've got equal highs there, equal lows here. The market is just back and forth between these two levels. So I wouldn't do anything with Swiss yen actually until price actually really makes a commanding breakout above the high or below the low. Right now we're completely flat and it's anyone's game. If anything, shorts at resistance, okay, that makes sense. Maybe some intraday opportunities. If price respects it well, perhaps we do something like this again. If that's what you're referring to, I can understand that. In terms of what I'm looking at for Swiss yen, there's very much a breakout and some pullbacks back to the high here. If the trend is going to continue, I'd expect a breakout and a continuation back to 185.876. And if we are going to reverse, then of course I want a break of this low, pullbacks. I'm looking for a push into this support area here, just below 179. I think we can go a little bit further, to be honest. Actually, no. A little bit higher, actually. I was looking at this high. Yeah, just below 180. We could potentially go here, but I would play it safe, just because the market is still very much in a bullish trend. But there's a few areas to keep an eye on. But yeah, because we're in the range, of course, looking to sell from the high and buy from the low makes sense. If you're waiting for breakout opportunities or trend following opportunities, or at least momentum following opportunities, then of course we're waiting for the breakout. But besides from that, yeah, very much in the range and shorting the high As long as we get adequate rejection, sure, makes sense. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. We'll go through oil and pound gem, then I'll take a look at pound Aussie. So last time I looked at oil, we're looking quite bearish. That's still the case. So yeah, the only thing I don't like about oil is that we're really corrective on the way down. So it doesn't convince me to jump into shorts. If I'm shorting a market, it's because I'm seeing strength in the bearish move, and then I'm looking for a pullback of that to continue it. If things are really corrective on the way down, yeah, that doesn't really convince me to keep selling. If anything, it puts me on hold for potentially a buy, because at that point I'm expecting a bit of a relief. We may continue down later on, but I would expect initially a pullback first before we continue. And that's kind of the condition we've got right now with oil. Very corrective, a lot of wicks, as you can see. This is not a good sign, not a healthy sign of a sustainable trend. So at some point, I do expect us to go for a bit of an up move. How big of an up move is something we'll find out until it actually does happen. But I'm not quite convinced with the shorts. The only way I would be convinced with the shorts is if out of somewhere, maybe some new strikes, and we do see a convincing bearish move and with momentum and strength, then yeah, pullbacks of that could make sense. Maybe a retest of some structure, and we could be on our way after that. So that's really what I'm looking at for oil. I am bearish on the market because we have broken through significant structure, previous resistance there, previous support. We have cleared that. I am looking to see if we can make our way back to the lows around 55. So that's very much my analysis for oil. But because we're so corrective here, I'm struggling to find some clear-cut entries. There might be some intraday opportunities, like another pullback into this area, especially with the fact that we just formed these lower highs. So this might be a nice, short-term opportunity to take. But if you were to take a short there in these conditions, I'll be prepared to close the trade as soon as we get back into support, really. So it wouldn't be a big swing trade I'll be after. If I'm looking for a big swing trade here, I want to see that convincing momentum, a pullback of that, and then it makes sense to look for that bigger trade. But if anything, short-term opportunities, yeah, I can see the logic there. We're pretty consistent with these highs. Another one could easily form for another push down. So short-term, yeah. Longer term, I need some momentum to get those opportunities going. Pound yen, last time I looked at pound yen, we're still kind of consolidating at resistance, and that looks to be the case still. So of course you've got major resistance on our left here, around, what is this, just below 200, so 199.8 we'll call it. Major resistance. If price does have a clear-cut break of that, I'll be very bullish on pound yen going forward and looking for a push all the way back to 175. So a clear-cut breakout of this will make me very bullish on the pair. Likewise, if we were to reject it again, we could easily see another push back into support here. So if I was to drop to the 4-hour chart, I would kind of box this off as a bit of a range. And I would say I'm waiting for price to kind of make a statement above that or below that. And that would probably help me understand the next move, the next likely move there for pound yen. If we would see a clear breakout like this, okay, that's a very strong bullish breakout. Perhaps looking for some pullbacks of that, especially intraday, could make sense. And maybe we're on our way and maybe we are going to break to the upside. If, on the other hand, price decides it wants to break lower, so we see price do something like this, okay, perhaps we are going to reject resistance, and perhaps that means we are going to see another push lower, back into support, like we've seen over there, like we've seen over there as well. So in here, it's kind of 50-50 right now. I wouldn't say anything's clear cut, especially looking at the 4-hour chart. A lot of wicks not really showing any strength from the buyers or the sellers. So I'll let price continue its madness in here and wait for kind of convincing behavior above or below. And then that's our signal to start buying or selling, or at least looking for opportunities in those directions. So yeah, pound yen so far is just dancing at resistance. It's kind of making up its mind. Is it going to break? Is it going to hold? I'm not really seeing convincing signs for either situation, but should price, do something like this, okay, yeah, it looks like we are holding. Let's look for shorts. Or of course, we get the break. It looks like we're clearly breaking out. Let's look for some longs. So that's kind of where I'm at with pound yen. In terms of pound Aussie, so I did hop into this trade not last Thursday, but the Thursday before. So yeah, almost 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks on Thursday. But yeah, very, very simple trade, really. All I'm looking is for the bounce of support to resistance, because I've already deemed this as a range. Equal highs mostly, equal lows. So when you do have a range in market, all you're looking to do is sell at the top and buy at the low. That's all my logic is. The skill involved is kind of just being patient to wait for good entry signals. And yeah, I was keeping a close eye at support here. Price was consolidating a lot. We saw a rejection initially over here. We came back down. Price was kind of back and forth, back and forth. At the time, I was actually looking for price to break to the downside. I was actually looking for price to clear support, to start trending lower, and actually look for some shorting opportunities on a pullback. That was actually my analysis. That was my plan. But I did say to myself as well, if we don't get the breakout, if I do see a strong enough rejection, I will also look for buys back to resistance, because at the end of the day, if support's going to hold, that could also present a nice buying opportunity. So I was keeping a close eye for pound Aussie as we consolidated. This lasted like a week and a half of just fluctuation. But because we never got the break to the downside, then we saw a very strong close here. After I saw that close, that was a key sign to tell me that, okay, support here is not likely to break now. Especially after this convincing break to the upside, support is most likely going to hold. And if support's going to hold, most likely we're going to push to the upside. So that's why I took an entry here of stops underneath the low. If I did see price close back inside the range here, because of course there was the probability that this was a fake out and price could have come back in the range. If that happened, I would have closed the trade early and walked away, because the momentum that I'm banking on is of course not in play anymore. But we stayed above the range. We came back for a retest, consolidated slightly. And then, of course, the market continued the following week. And now we've seen a bit of a trend form. And yeah, I'm simply just banking for a push to the high. So the analysis is not too detailed. It's basically just looking at the range. A slight confluence for the trades. Not really a slight confluence. A strong confluence for the trade is that the overall trend is still to the upside for pound Aussie. So the overall trend is actually helping me out a little bit here too. But the main reason was we were respecting support very, very strongly. So that's why I hopped into the position. And yeah, the targets are back at the high of the range. Possibly I might hold some positions for a push like this if things go very well. Depends how we react at this level. If I see rejection, wicks, then I'll just close the full trade. There's no point to try and hold through. But if I can see a strong candle close like what pound NZD did, which is a very similar pair to pound Aussie, if I can see a strong candle close like this, then I will leave some positions to run with the expectation that we'll make our move back to resistance. Same thing for pound Aussie. But in terms of managing the trade, I'm just trading my stops. So my stop loss isn't here anymore. That was the original stop loss for the trade. My stop loss is actually placed here, slightly in a bit of profit, and just underneath this wick low here. So if price was to go past that, I'll be stopped out. And quite frankly, if price was to break through this area, I wouldn't want to be in the trade anyway, because at that point we're kind of reversing. I'd rather wait for price to push back into support, reject it again, then hop into a new trade rather than hold on to this original one. So my stop loss is locked into a bit of profit, so whatever happens, I will at least walk away with a very slight bit of profit there, at least pay for the commission. But yeah, the plan is to hopefully get a push into resistance. And if we can create more structure here, let's say we do break to the upside, I will actually move the stop loss there now. And then, yeah, hopefully we do hit resistance. So, yeah, not much into that trade. Again, a lot of trading is just doing the simple things well. You don't have to be Einstein to figure out where the market is going to go. And a lot of it is just probability. You're just taking trades off probability. If things work well, you try and stay in those trades, maximize your winners. If things are not working out, get out the trade, keep the losses small. That's very much my kind of mentality with trading. Okay, where were we? CS Integrated, Topia Insights on YouTube, where I have a long at 147 out of danger zone, just holding still. Okay, I haven't actually looked at Dolly Yen since yesterday, so I will go and have a look at it. But I'm still bullish unless anything's crazy's happened. Lenny, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Why is Forex this hard? I mean, Forex, everything is hard in the beginning, isn't it? You know, Forex, learning to drive, everything is hard in the beginning. Daily dose of gold, I suppose. Stress. Are you talking about on the intraday time frame? Let me know if you want me to take a look at gold intraday, because the 4 hour, there's literally nothing to say apart from just wait for price to push to resistance or support and then buy. Intraday, it's a little bit more interesting. Still nothing really going on for gold, to be honest, even intraday, but there's a bit more to talk about there than the 4 hour chart. Aussie Yen, FH, yep, we'll take a look at that as well. Ethereum, yes, we'll take a look. Euro Yen, we can take a look at that as well. I did have a look at Pound USD. If you scroll back like maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe, you'll see my full analysis for Pound there. Appreciate it, guys. If you can like and subscribe, it does really help out. But yeah, the trade is taking its sweet time. It is taking its sweet time. Okay, so we'll go through Aussie Yen, and I'll take a look at Dollar Yen as well, and Euro Yen. So we'll probably go through some yen pairs whilst we're at it. Wrong one. Okay, so Dollar Yen. Last time I was looking at this one, I think we were here. So of course, not much has happened. Yeah, we're still very much within this range. CS Integrated, you said you're holding a long position from 147, which is roughly around here somewhere. Holding long at 147 out of danger zone, just still holding. Okay. So yeah, I mentioned some longs at the start of the week from this area or this area if we were to break a little bit lower. As we can see, this area from last week did hold, and we've seen some nice upside, but essentially the market is ranging here. So this is an area to watch out for. Of course, we had some type of breakout there, but it didn't really amount to much. But it has proven to be sturdy resistance on numerous occasions. So if Dollar Yen is really going to get going, I do want to see price really clear 148. Clear that well and stay above it, of course. Then I'm looking at a push to here, and then maybe even a push to here. From what I'm seeing, Dollar Yen is in a slight uptrend, so that's kind of where my bullish bias does come from. I'm seeing overall higher highs and higher lows. As long as we do not break through this, I do expect upside. So those are the reasons why I like the buys here, down at the lows near the trend line, where we could see some upside. But of course, at the moment, we're kind of stuck at some resistance. So there is a world where potentially price does respect this area and comes back down again, and maybe just continues to fluctuate in that range. So I would be a bit watchful of that. But should we break 148, I think you're looking good, especially with some entries at 147. Maybe even start to show some stop losses or secure some partials, however you want to manage it. And then maybe some targets to look at, 149 and 150.7. 750 as well. But yeah, I quite like what I'm seeing with Dollar Yen. It is quite flat, yes, but I like it because we had such an aggressive sell, but all that momentum has kind of disappeared, and now we're kind of just flat, which kind of shows me that buyers are doing a good job at respecting support here, and perhaps we are getting ready for a bullish move. And of course, if USD is going to gain some strength, if the DXY is going to look strong, that should really help catapult this trade to the upside. So yeah, I like it. I like the entry as well. 147 down at the lows. We're at resistance now, which is kind of why we're looking a little bit sideways. But should we break that, hopefully the trade can really get going, at least to 149. and maybe to that final target as well. Aussie yen. So this one quite interesting. I like the longs actually for Aussie yen. I do think a lot more upside is due for Aussie yen. Main reason is because of the structure on the daily chart. Lower lows, then we've gone to higher highs and higher lows. So the plan is, can we find the next higher low for perhaps the next higher high? And judging this price action here, it looks really corrective to me. Really corrective. So I do expect something like this to happen in due course. But yeah, I'm not sure that's quite ready yet. I like this area here, nice consolidation. We spent a few days there before seeing that momentum. So if price was to test that again, I would expect to see a reaction of some nature, of some sort. And if I do whip out the old Fibonacci from the low to the high, you can see we do have some nice Fib confluence in this area. The 0.5, 0.618. Overall, that would be a healthy pullback. And judging how we're looking, just seeing another push to the low end of the channel, that's really where I want to position myself long, put some stops below, and hopefully take advantage of a swing back to a high. So I'm liking Aussie yen longs. At the moment, we're kind of just chopping around here, so I'm not seeing much of an opportunity in regards to the current price action. I talked about the lower highs yesterday, as we are kind of forming this channel here to a degree. I'm looking to see if we can push down one more time and collect some buys. So that's the opportunity I'm interested in. I actually like Aussie yen. It's actually a pair which I'm interested in. I probably don't see a trade this week, so this is probably something I might add to my watch list next week actually. But I like what we're doing. Nice reaction at the highs. Of course, what we're doing now is a little bit weird. I don't really know what we're doing here. We might be consolidating to push down. We might consolidate to test highs again before coming down, or maybe even break out. In terms of a location which I'm happy to find entries, yeah, this low makes a lot of sense. So that's really what I'm waiting to see for Aussie yen. And of course, targets will be back at major resistance. And probably further as well. We'll go through Euro yen next. Savvy mentioned Euro yen sells. I'll look at Ethereum as well. We'll take a look at dose of gold for stress relief. Is that XM market broker safe to use? It's a pretty reliable broker, yeah. I would recommend them. AJ, Ethereum, UJ, yep. Keep a nice little mental note there for me, Bashi, appreciate it. What's up, Baram? Welcome to the stream. Euro pound as well. Okay, we can add that to the list. No, I'm not from Ethiopia. Shaka. Yes, we can take a look at NAS. I haven't actually gone through any indices yet, so we can take a look at those. But we'll go through go through Euro yen, then we'll take a look at Ethereum. So Euro yen. Get my pairs mixed up. So yeah, Euro yen, of course, a very bullish market at the moment. I mean, at the moment it's kind of sideways, but in general, very bullish. Lovely up move. I still do expect more upside for this one, back to 175.225. So that's where I do see the bigger target and the more longer term target being, ever since we had the breakout of this range, so to speak. I've been looking at us pushing back to 175. We had a lovely breakout here. I was actually originally hoping for the retest of this level. We saw kind of a quick break and retest, but I was hoping for a bigger breakout, bigger retest to form. That never really happened. Then we've had this pullback, and I'm looking at this as potentially being the next high low to take us back to the upside. So I am pretty bullish from here on out. There is a bit of resistance here, which we're struggling around. And I'm looking to see if we kind of get a clear-cut breakout of that. And I think that would be the catalyst to really get things going. At least a push back to this high, of course, but more so 175 up there. So yeah, going forward for Euro yen, I'm very bullish on this one. I would say we're kind of sideways, very flat right now. So a key component would be seeing some strength from the buyers again, seeing some momentum to really indicate that the buyers are coming into play. If this is going to be our higher low, then I want to see some more evidence of momentum. Right now, we are really, really flat. So, and we're kind of struggling at resistance a little bit. This could be our next higher low. If that's the case, let's see a higher high. And then sure, pullbacks of that makes sense. And we still got a fair bit back to 175. If I measure the pips from this level to 175, roughly, you're looking at just shy of 300 pips. So even if you can just take advantage of 150 of that with a 50 pip stop loss, yeah, you could be looking at a nice 1 to 3 there. So there's more than enough of an opportunity on our hands there for Euro Yen. But yeah, that is the play. I'm looking at more upsides, just looking at the continuation of the higher time frame trend. We are quite corrective right now, quite flat. So kind of waiting for a bit more momentum to really come into play that shows that the buyers are here and we're likely to continue. Then pullbacks after makes sense. And yeah, final target's 175, which is a major level of resistance. So you could even see a big reaction off the back of that. But for now, let's just see if we can get there first. As for Ethereum, so Ethereum looking at some more upside. It's a very bullish market. I don't think we quite saw all-time highs, have we? No, not quite. So we've come just shy of that. Yeah, I'm expecting to happen sooner or later, to be honest, especially with the break of resistance we had here back down at 4K. So yeah, sooner or later, new highs pass 4867, and then the new target will be 5K, which is of course the next big psychological level for Ethereum. What would be nice would be a retest of this resistance level, of course, turn support, especially if you're looking for more of a swing position. I think that would be in a really effective place for a buy. At the moment, we are testing a really strong area of demand. We did consolidate here for a few candles, then of course saw a very strong break to the upside. This to me is a smart place for a long, especially on like a 4-hour time frame. There's two ways to go about it. You could either look for entries in this area, like a strong close, and take some entries off the back of that, or wait for the more conservative entry, which would be waiting for price to break the counter trend line and then take some longs off the back of that, which is actually a really effective buy approach for Ethereum and a lot of cryptocurrencies, because from my experience, breakout opportunities actually perform quite well with Ethereum. Not as much with FX pairs, but Ethereum, BTC, some other cryptocurrencies, some breakout opportunities do perform pretty well. So either looking for some buys slightly earlier, this could help in terms of your risk reward, but in terms of kind of making sure the trade is likely to play out, waiting for the counter trend line to break is a smart option. Or of course, if we do come a little bit deeper into 4K, I think that's a really nice place for a retest and a buy as well. But each way, we're looking at buying opportunities. We're in a nice area of demand. If that doesn't hold, waiting for the support level just slightly below at 4K and looking for some buys off the back of that. And yeah, a push back to resistance or all-time highs will be the bet for Ethereum. So, okay, that is what I'm expecting for Ethereum. We'll take a look at... Okay, don't care about gold. Yeah, I was going to say gold's price action is horrendous. Even the lower time frames, I'm not seeing any opportunities there. I mean, I'm sure somewhere there is a trade, but I wouldn't try and force anything. There's other markets looking better. And even if you are just focused on gold, you know, I'll let the dust settle. Maybe this time next week the market's looking a little bit better. We'll go through NAS for Lenny, and we'll take a look at Euro Pound as well on the hourly time frame for Bahram. Euro USD, yep, we'll take a look at that one as well. Pavanator, welcome to the stream. Happy Tuesday, hope you're well. Aussie dollar fell today. How's your trade coming along? I'm up 50 buckaroos, nice. What's up, Yusuf? Good morning, hope you're doing good. So yeah, Pound Aussie's doing okay. Of course, our trades are kind of related. I'm long Pound Aussie, so kind of hoping for a bit of Aussie weakness to help that trade out. And of course, you're short Aussie dollar, so again, looking for some weakness. So it's looking all right. It hasn't really progressed much this week. I mean, it is only Tuesday. It's just kind of flat at the moment, stuck in this range. I think if you can get that break to the upside, that'll kind of really get the ball rolling again. But it's looking okay. I can't complain. I've moved my stop loss into profit. This is where my stop loss is, by the way. So worst case scenario, I'll at least walk away for a very, very small win. But hopefully we can see a push to resistance there, maybe even a push to the high there if things go very well. But so far it is looking okay. Anyway, let's take a look at NAS 100 and Euro Pound on the hourly chart. So NAS, I'm still pretty bullish. I was speaking about some buys yesterday for NAS. I did suggest that this looks really corrective. So my first impression with this piece of price action is that it's likely a pullback, a corrective retracement for price to eventually see the next swing to the upside, back to highs, and so on and so forth. And that's still really my take on NAS. I would admit I would have expected to happen by now. The fact that we're still seeing this corrective behavior continue is a little bit a slight red flag, especially taking into consideration how bullish the market has been. So I would probably advise waiting for the break of the counter trend line before getting long. We are trading at tonight a nice area, coming back into a strong area of demand. We consolidated here, saw a really strong shift in bullish momentum, a strong push higher. So this is a nice place for a buy, but I would say waiting for that break of that counter trend line to kind of indicate that this correction is over could be a very nice entry signal. And of course, once you take the buys in the breakout, stops underneath the low, targets back at the high, and then maybe you kind of trail stops and see how far you can take it, because of course these are all-time highs after all. But yeah, NAS I'm still really bullish on, so still looking at more upside. I would suggest a break of the counter trend line and break out the channel as an entry. We are testing a really nice level here. You can even argue we are retesting this high to our left here, so a bit of a retest of that double top there. And yeah, a strong break of that counter trend line should get us on our way. And targets will be, of course, all-time highs. Then we'll go from there. But yeah, very bullish on the NAS. And as for Euro Pound on the hourly chart, yeah, an interesting market. I probably wouldn't be looking to long this on the hourly, if I'm going to be completely honest, mainly because I'm not seeing much of an opportunity. First of all, on the hourly, we are pretty bearish. I'm still seeing consistent lower highs here. So that's not what I want to see. To me, this looks really flat in terms of the price action. So that's not really a good sign for the buys either. And we are about to approach into some areas of supply, which of course kickstarted this bearish move here. So I wouldn't look to buy Euro Pound on the hourly chart at all. Very, very flat market. I understand we have come from support here to our left, which is good. It's a bullish sign. If we're coming from support, we typically want to buy, but not here and not at this time. So yeah, I'm not seeing opportunity for Euro Pound buys. Maybe if we can pick up the trend and start to break some structure as well, then maybe some pullbacks of that makes sense. Sure, I can maybe understand that. Maybe this turns into a nice area of demand. We see a strong break of structure, a pullback, and then we capitalize on maybe another higher low. So there's your first low, second high low, third, and that could be a nice continuation trade back to highs and so on and so forth. So maybe something like that, but this is really hypothetical. A lot needs to happen before we can even talk about some trades in that kind of light. So yeah, I'll leave that alone. Keep an eye on Euro Pound, sure. But I'm not seeing much of a long opportunity, especially on the hourly chart at the moment. Everything is quite bearish. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another push down. So yeah, I wouldn't be looking to take some buys there. We'll go through Euro USD next for Adore, and hoping for another break to the downside. Yeah, I think we can get that. Of course, we're living in a USD world right now. If Aussie dollar is going to continue lower, we do need to see DXY gain some strength. If the DXY does gain strength, then we probably won't see that move happen. to be honest. So kind of waiting for that to get the ball rolling. But I do favor it. I do favor it. Yusuf, thoughts on selling G on the 15 at current price? Okay, I'll take a look at Euro first, and then I'll go through pound on the 15. LFTJ. Yeah, I agree. Trading gold on the low time frame is just chaotic. Just waiting for a key level. Yeah, for patient. Yeah, I agree. I think low time frames don't look great as well. Again, in terms of low time frames, you can force some opportunities there. In terms of the 4-hour chart, I don't see anything at all. Not even in the slightest. Okay, so we'll go through Euro, Pound. J, yes, we can look at BTC and some indices as well, no problem. So Euro USD, probably my favorite pair at the moment besides the pair I'm trading. I am looking to short this guy. From a daily perspective, you can kind of see the swing and the play really in the big picture. I'm looking just for the continuation of this bearish structure, for another lower high to form, for another push down. That's all I'm looking for. We pushed into a nice area of supply. You can see we consolidated here. This is where we had a humongous bearish candle a couple of weeks ago. And I'm looking for that selling pressure to kick back in basically and take us back to lows. That's my first target. That's my second target. In terms of entries, we've been kind of just ascending in this channel. So I'm actually waiting for either price to push back into resistance or that area of supply, reject it a third time and see a strong shift off the back of that. That could be my entry signal, or simply just waiting for a strong break of the counter trend line, strong breakout of that channel. That could be my entry as well. Kind of depends which one comes first sort of situation for Euro here. But essentially, I'm just looking at this being a lower high, and I'm hoping to catch the swing to the lows, or at least the low here. So yeah, Euro pretty bearish. Of course, if you're looking at it from an intraday light, you could say Euro is pretty bullish. It has been, of course, with this trend here. Maybe there's still a bit more to continue, but based on where we're trading, I am looking for some shorts here. So that is the plan for Euro USD. If there is particular time frames you want me to take a look at, let me know, because my default time frame is like the 4-hour chart. That's where I do all my trading personally. But if you're trading like the 50-minute chart, let me know and I'll take a look as well. So 50-minute pound USD shorts from current price. So yeah, I wouldn't be taking some shorts from current price just yet for pound. I did actually speak about some shorts early in the stream. I suggested possibly this area, or even the high there as well, but more so this area. If I expand to the 4-hour chart, I'll probably see it a bit better. So we've got this kind of descending channel flag pattern at play. So you got these lower lows and lower highs. So if you're going to take a short for pound, ideally you want it to be in this area. This is where you want to be looking for shorts, because if this structure is going to continue, see another wave down, this is where you want to position yourself, especially in like a 15-minute chart, and then take the swing to the downside. Or of course, wait for us to be back at resistance and then look for some shorts off the back of that. That would make sense as well. But of course, this opportunity will come first. So for pound USD current price, not too sure about that. Again, anything can happen in the market. I don't want to say yes or no. But if it was me on the 50-minute chart trying to take some shorts, I would very much wait for us to push into the upper trend line and be trading in this area of supply to our left. We had a lovely consolidation there, really strong drop to the downside. So I can see some obvious selling pressure from that area. If we can return there, that would be great. See some rejection, perhaps a nice double top, and then perhaps we do see another swing back to the lows, and that would just be the next lower high I'll be looking to short there. So I can see some downside for pound USD, absolutely, but 1.354 would be my area of interest for shorts. Here is kind of just a little bit too early for my liking. I can see that probably you're looking at maybe a retest of the low here. So support there, turn resistance. So I can see the logic there. But based on how we're moving, I'll look for a deeper pullback. I mean, if I was to whip out the fib from the high to the low, You got the 50, 0.618 in that area. I think that's a better confidence for the trade. So sure, we are getting the retest here. Not quite convinced in my book. I would wait for a deeper retracement. And we are looking quite bullish at the moment right now. Looks like pound USD is having a bit of fun. But yeah, that's where my confidence would lie for a short. BTC, we'll go through a couple of indices as well. So Bitcoin, last time I looked, was looking pretty bearish. Yeah, still the case roughly. Maybe a bit bullish in the morning, but we have been trending down pretty hard. Of course, we had the retest of the highs there, which haven't gone to play. We did just about see some new all-time highs, but we came down and fell flat on our face pretty quickly afterwards. So Bitcoin, I'm kind of just waiting for more information here, because the plan coming into last week was, okay, we've probably got another bull flag on our hands here. We're likely to continue back to highs and just continue the trend. We saw another bull flag pattern happen recently that continued to highs, continue the trend. Yeah, equally with this one as well, that just continued to highs and continue the trend. And here as well, so we've seen quite a few of these flag patterns in play, and they've all kind of just continued back to highs, new all-time highs, and the trend just looked really healthy. So I was basically expecting that pattern to happen again, but this occasion is different. Yes, we did just about create new all-time highs, but on this occasion, we had a really aggressive rejection at the high just afterwards, and now we're coming straight back down. So things are changing a little bit for BTC. This could be maybe somewhat of a temporary top for Bitcoin. We might trend to the downside for a little bit before maybe continuing later on. We might go for a bit more of a complex pullback, or maybe prices just putting a higher low to continue. I'm not too sure yet. But what I can say intraday is that we have looked quite bearish. And if you are looking at opportunities for BTC, especially intraday, I would have a short bias. Let's say if price can pull back into this area, I think that would be a nice place for a short, and perhaps another swing intraday or even intra-week. I think that looks like a smart place for a trade for me. So BTC, perhaps we've still got some room into support. 112 is a pretty big level. We could see price attracted towards that area. From what I'm seeing right now, we've had a really strong rejection, which has broken through some structure, and we now continue with these lower highs. So the plan is, can we find the next lower high for the next bearish swing? So in terms of the smaller move, it makes sense. Some shorts make sense. In terms of the bigger move, of course, I'm still bullish overall on Bitcoin, but I'm not too sure how this is going to play out. You know, do we maybe form a larger range here? Do we have a deeper correction? I need more information before I start kind of looking a bit more into that. But for now, especially if you're looking at the next maybe 24, 48 hours, I would be looking at a bearish swing there. And in terms of the indices, so NAS, I spoke about this one earlier, just looking for more continuation, more upside. It looks like a pullback to me. We're coming back into nice areas of support. I would wait for a strong close outside of that corrective channel, but then from then onwards, expecting a push back to highs and so on and so forth. The DAX, I'm pretty bullish on. I'm expecting more upside for this one as well. We are quite flat. You could argue that we're in a consolidation, and I would not disagree. I would say we are in a consolidation as well. But if I do expand to the higher time frames, I can see a quite clear bullish trend, which looks like it's running out of steam, but I do think we can at least see a push back to highs. You know, we might not break the highs by far. We might even respect the highs and come back down. But I can see at least a push back to highs for now. Especially this looks like another higher low to me. One over there which created the high. This looks like another higher low potentially is forming. So I do think we can run back into resistance here and maybe possibly continue. I did suggest some buys from here yesterday. I actually spoke about two areas for a buy. I said keep an eye on support here and this area demand. Of course, if this area does break, then we'll look at this level, but for now this could be a nice area for a buy. This again looks like a nice kind of flag pattern, and again even a strong break of that channel could be a nice buy there. But yeah, I'm expecting us to continue back to resistance. If we do fall to the downside for whatever reason, then as long as we can respect support here, I do see us turning back to the upside again. So the DAX, I do expect us to push into 24,641 in the next few days, really. In terms of the S&P, pretty bullish on this one as well. It looks to me that price again is having some type of correction here. I do think we can probably push down though. We are quite flat here. I can see a world where we do probably push down, whether to test this area or maybe have a deeper test of the high here to our left. Either of these areas could be enough to take us back to highs. So whether we come into 6402 or roughly 6425, I'm looking for a push back to where we came from. Because a key thing I'm looking at when price is retracing is how we're retracing. Are we looking quite aggressive? Are we slow? Is it corrective price action? Are there a lot of wicks? If I'm seeing all of those, then I know that's likely going to be a pullback and we're probably going to continue pretty soon afterwards. If it's aggressive momentum like we saw with Bitcoin, I'll be a little bit be a bit more kind of conservative and not looking to jump straight in, and keep an eye out that this might not be a pullback. It could be the start of a reversal. In terms of the conditions which I'm seeing for NAS, which I'm seeing for the S&P, it looks really corrective. So I do think more upside is likely, and you've got two kind of clear-cut levels there for some buying opportunities. And in terms of US30 as well, this one's a bit different because we are testing really significant resistance. So I actually would be quite careful with the buys for US30. Until we see a significant break of resistance here, I probably wouldn't jump into any longs. You might find some nice longs coming back into this area. I think that's a smart place for a buy, especially if you're on an intraday time frame. But in terms of like a big swing trade, I would wait for this level to break first, then look for opportunities off the back of that. This is resistance. There might be some selling opportunities beforehand. But if you're looking for buys, at least a push to 44,400, or of course a big break of that daily structure there. And then of course we can talk about retest, but not from current price because of the level we're trading into. But yeah, in terms of the bigger move for the indices, I am pretty bullish. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. I do really appreciate all the likes and subscriptions. Is that how it works? No. Subscribes? I don't know what the right word for it is, but you know what I mean. If you don't want to miss out on the content, make sure you do hit the bell as well, and of course share it with your friends as well. It does really help out. Okay, where was I? Yes, we can take a look at pound as well. UJ, GJ, Euro on the 15 as well. Gold as well on the 15. Okay, Yusuf, I see. You want me to go through some chaotic price action. Lighten, USDZR, yes, we can take a look as well. Good morning, Alex. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, we just went through US30 and NAS, but I can go through oil for you. I think BTC is also tired as well. Yeah, Bitcoin's it's after that rejection we had. If Bitcoin kind of made new highs, but then it slowly pushed down again, well, I would just expect more upside. You know, that's basically what Bitcoin has been doing. Really aggressive rallies, slow corrective bearish moves, which really just indicate a healthy trend. The new price action now, after we created highs, was really aggressive. That's not a good sign. Again, doesn't necessarily instantly mean that BTC is gonna start to crash. It just means we could be entering a new phase, maybe a big consolidation, maybe a more deeper, complex pullback. That could be what's on the horizon now for BTC. But overall, the market is still bullish. The rejection of the high hasn't mean we're bearish now. It just it means that we're probably going to enter a new phase here. So I'll be a bit watchful of BTC. Okay, so I'll go through pound quickly, then we'll go through some of those pairs on the lower time frames Yusuf just mentioned. And we'll take a look at USDZR as well. So as I mentioned with pound, a lot of people are talking about pound today. So yeah, as I mentioned with pound, again, in terms of the 4-hour chart, we are respecting a key a key piece of structure. This is the last swing high, which gave us the low. So technically speaking, on the 4-hour chart, I would still deem this market structure to be bearish. Until we break the high, then yeah, we're bullish, but that's not the case just yet. So naturally, I do have a bearish bias, but in terms of the current price action, I'm not seeing any signs to back that up for any kind of big shorts. Intraday, I can see some opportunities, as I just mentioned earlier. A retest of this area makes sense, so that's kind of where the focus will be. And that's kind of where, if I was looking to trade in the 15, where I look for any entries. The buys are kind of already played out, so that's kind of in the past. Probably be a bit too late to enter any buys at the moment now, but sells kind of where it's at next. In terms of euro on the 15, let's delete that. Euro on the 15. So yeah, yesterday I spoke about some shorts here. I said it would be nice if euro can come back and retest that. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Now we've kind of broken out of this channel and we've seen some strength there, but it has kind of just formed a higher low. So yeah, on the 15, I'll probably start to back off from euro. It has looked good over the past few days, but now that I'm seeing lower highs print, and I'm also seeing higher lows print, now this is where things get a little bit congested, a little bit indecisive. Is the market going to continue? Is the market going to reverse? We don't know. We need a bit more information. So this is where things get a little bit choppy, and I kind of would back away. I wouldn't be trying to look for any big moves. If you are going to trade euro, I'll keep things short and sweet. So maybe we do push back into this area. Maybe there is a nice short off the back of that, but I wouldn't look for a big swing. Yeah, I'll keep things short and sweet. Personally, I wouldn't look to trade it because, especially in lower time frames, I like direction. Right now, direction isn't quite clear. And if it isn't clear to me, I don't really see an opportunity worthwhile. Yes, there might be some short-term sales, short-term buys to kind of take advantage of resistance and support, more supply and demand, but those are not the best opportunities. I like it when we've got direction, we're just looking for pullbacks of it. So euro, because we're starting to squeeze here, this could continue for a few days potentially until price, eventually picks its direction, whether it's up or down, not too sure. So I would be quite careful now with euro. I'd wait for more information, wait for kind of quality before I do take anything. But if price does eventually break lower, let's say if we do this and then break lower, then of course that makes my job a lot easier. Pullbacks, more downside will be the case. If this trend is going to continue, I'd wait for that continuation to happen. And then yeah, pullbacks, maybe a retest at the high, maybe a retest at that high. Then we continue off the back of that. But we're not quite there yet. So personally, I'd back away from euro. In terms of pound yen, not pound yen. Yeah, you did say pound yen. In terms of pound yen on the 15, this is going to look horrendous. Yep, it does look horrendous. So yeah, I'm going to keep this short and sweet on the 15, to be honest. Not a lot to talk about. Yeah, I would not trade that at all. Again, I'm not saying there is no trade there, but I'm not seeing much quality, no momentum, very chaotic price action, a lot of frequent fluctuation here. So there's no kind of consistent direction here with pound yen. We are essentially ranging. So going back to the 4-hour chart, until we see a sustained break either to the upside to confirm that we're breaking higher and possibly the trend's going to continue higher, or a sustained break to the downside, showing that it's okay, we're topping out here, and then we're probably looking at a reversal. Then we can look at some pullbacks on the way down, so on and so forth. Then sure, there's opportunities there as well. But until we get one or the other, I would stay away, especially intraday. I think that's a quick way to give back profits to the market, trying to find opportunities within this. Sure, if you're going to short the highs, that makes sense. Let's say if price does push back into resistance here and you take a short there, okay, that's logical, that makes sense. Likewise with the lows, if we do push into support, reject it well and take some buys, that I can say is a respectable opportunity that makes sense. But anything other than that, I would wait for the breakout. So if you're looking for shorts, yep, wait for a push to the high. You can see a lot of wicks of the highs here. That's essentially where you want to place your entries. Likewise with the lows. But anything in the middle, no man's land. Dollar yen, kind of in a similar format as well. This one has been ranging to more or less equal highs there, more or less equal lows. This one has been back and forth, back and forth. Not a big fan of this one. I did speak about a push back to highs and a rejection there. We kind of have seen that come into play, but nothing clear cut. Likewise with the buys, if we're going to take some buys again, at least wait for us to push back into lows. Even the lows here would be even better. But as of where we are right now, I wouldn't say as much. So maybe if you do push back into resistance again, respect it well. There might be some nice shorts off the back of that. Again, just calling the tops, buying the lows. That's the best way to trade when markets are choppy like this. I wouldn't look for any kind of trend continuation patterns. I know there is somewhat of a trend here, but I wouldn't try and buy into that, especially in these conditions. Of course, if we do get a breakout, then that's a different situation. Sure, some pullbacks after that could look good, and maybe we rally. And the trend really does continue in the higher time frame, so that could be something to watch for, but that does depend on the breakout, of course, which we don't quite have yet. So, yeah, dollar yen, not seeing much of an opportunity apart from just shorting at the highs, or again, buying at the lows. And gold, that would, again, literally be what I would suggest. Again, I did mention this is a nice area of support, especially in the lower time frames. This looks like a nice place for a buy. I would argue that gold is in a bit of a range here on the 15.2. Things are quite flat. So if we're going to take advantage of any opportunities, again, it's buying at the lows or selling at the highs. We did come back into the lows again. Nice reaction. I would suggest if we were to push down into the lows again, that still could be a great place for a buy, provided we see some healthy rejection there. And likewise with the shorts, if you can push back into resistance, that could be a smart place for a short as well. So again, waiting for price to approach these valuable areas when we are flat, waiting for some healthy rejection and taking some shorts or some longs off the back of that is what makes the most sense. Anything in the middle, you're asking for trouble, really. You're asking for trouble. Oh, didn't mean to do that. So yeah, I would stay away from that. And as for the 4-hour chart, just waiting for a push to resistance or a push to support for opportunities. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. We'll go through oil next. DJ Gaming, hello, what is up? Hope you're well. DXY in the 15 looks like breaks 97.6. Okay, we can take a look at DXY for you. Yeah, pound USD looks like it is picking up momentum. I wonder if that's pound strength or USD weakness. I need to have a look at the DXY. Hey, appreciate it, Bashi. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe. It does really help out. And of course, whack any questions or any comments in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer them. Faithful likes his most of it. So yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, Bashi. You got to start somewhere. I mean, there were times where the most likes I've had was 7 as well. I mean, I think the most likes I've had in the stream is maybe close to 100, I think. Can't remember, but probably around there, to be fair, 90, 100, maybe something like that. But yeah, again, the time will come, Bashi, where 34 likes is, you get that before the stream starts. How about gold? Just went through gold, the bear and bullish. Not a big fan of gold, to be honest. Price action, very, very stale. Very, very stale. So I would be patient with gold. Dylan, okay, we can take a look at Aussie yen as well. I'll do a pack for 30. Don't injure yourself, Bashi. Don't injure yourself. Poppy, what's up? Hope you're well. Good to have you on the stream. Does New Zealand CAD look like a head and shoulders to you on the hour? It does. It does. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I wouldn't buy into it because it's in the middle of a range. Head and shoulder patterns are great patterns, but at the top of trends or at the bottom of trends for an inverse head and shoulder. In a range, I would say the win rate wouldn't be as high. Not that it won't work out, but probably the consistency won't be as well as in in trending conditions. But we can look at that quickly. I'll go for the DXY for DJ Gaming first. I don't think any, and then I'll take a look at Aussie, and then we'll take a look at the New Zealand CAD as well. Oh yeah, completely forgot about USDZR lighter. My bad, completely forgot. I do apologize, but we'll take a look. All right, take care, Bashi. Have a good one, my man. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Have a good one. Okay, so what did I say I was going to go through? DXY, Aussie Yen, New Zealand CAD. So DXY 15-minute chart. So I'm actually looking at some buys for the DXY, which hasn't really come into play yet, but that's really the plan. Looking to see if we can find another higher low and perhaps a swing back to resistance, which is around 100.128. So that's the plan there with DXY from a 4-hour perspective. But I am waiting to see if we can kind of break out of this descending channel, and maybe a strong close outside of that is really what I'm waiting for in terms of an entry. Now, I'm not looking to trade the DXY, but if I can see some signs of the DXY breaking out that channel, that will probably translate to a nice close to the downside for me for Euro. So something like this, and that could be a nice entry for Euro USD. So yeah, simultaneously, Euro's looking good for shorts, DXY is looking good for longs, correlation's looking good. That's kind of the relationship I want to be seeing. As for the 15-minute time frame, because of course we are still trading in this channel, and price is at the moment still doing a pretty good job at respecting the channel as resistance. Of course, you have that massive wick there, but resistance there as well. It looks like resistance there as well. So price is doing a pretty good job at respecting the channel, and perhaps that could still mean another swing to the downside. So I have to be quite careful of that. If I drop to the 15 now, you mentioned 97.6. It breaks 97.6. So you're talking about a break of the low here. Possibly. That could be the move. Like I said, if price is going to respect the high of the channel, we could very much see a push back into the low, which could even take us back to the low end of the trend line again, which will be, of course, lower than 97.6. So that could be the plan as well. As I said, I'm quite bullish, so I'm not looking for shorting opportunities, but the rejection of the channel, I would suggest, is a shorting opportunity. We could head lower. So yeah, I think some shorts, especially in the lower time frames, make sense. I would suggest if you come back and retest this area, that would be a nice place for a short. Maybe take out some of the weaker highs here, pull back, test that structure. That could be a nice short on like a 5-minute chart, or maybe like a nice long on like a 5-minute chart on Euro. But from a DXY perspective, sure, there could definitely be some more downside. In fact, if we could push low, respect support, that could actually give us a nice entry for a long. But we'll speak about that when the time is right. Okay, so we'll go through Aussie Yen next, and we'll take a look. Actually, we'll go through USDZR first, because Lighton requested that donkeys ago. So we'll go through USDZR first, and take a look at Aussie Yen and New Zealand CAD for Poppy. New Zealand CAD's in the range, but it's hitting the 200 MA on the daily also. Okay, yeah, I haven't looked at the 200 MA. I will take a look at that. At this point, please tell me which pairs to currently look into, at least one pair. Euro USD, again, it depends what time frames you're looking at. Because I've got a few opportunities which I'm looking at. They're on the 4-hour chart. They're more swing opportunities, which could take a few days to play out. If you're an intraday trader, it's probably not something you want to be focusing on, really. And again, with the streams as well, I do flick through many charts. You can use it just as like an idea hub to kind of look at, okay, euro looks interesting, pound looks interesting, dollar CAD looks interesting. You don't necessarily have to try and force trades, because of course you do have that natural indication to take a trade, of course, who doesn't? But you want to make sure that you're trading for the sake of good trading, rather just because you want to make a quick profit, which is of course not going to serve you well in the long run. But I can go through my watch list before I do wrap things up. But again, that's more from a swing trading perspective, so take that into consideration. Anyway, let's go through USD-ZAR. So USD-ZAR, last time I looked at this one, we were respecting support, and we still are just about. So yeah, USD-ZAR, I'm actually looking for a lot more downside. I'm still looking for a push into the low here. I remember last time we looked at USD-ZAR together, Lighten probably trading around here maybe. But we had a really strong push up, which I'm just looking as another lower high. We've had a really big move down. I think we've become quite corrective, so we needed that natural kind of relief to the upside, which essentially is just basically come back to respect support there, turn resistance, and now looking at quite bearish there as well. So I do think we can continue lower, back into the low here at 17.05. So yeah, I do think USD-ZAR is likely to head a lot lower still. Of course, we do have support to contend with, which potentially could still give us another bounce to the upside. So as I was mentioning with USD-ZAR yesterday, because someone did request it, for now, because we're still at support, we can be looking for buying opportunities at this level. So what I would suggest maybe is either a nice double bottom opportunity, or maybe waiting for us to break out of this range and waiting for like an entry on a breakout, or even a retest, let's say, to continue. Or of course the double bottom back here. But either which way, we're looking for buys off the low, because there is still room to the upside. We could still potentially catch a nice swing. If price does make a way to the downside, then of course that alerts us that, okay, maybe we are going to push the lows now. And of course, because this has proven to be a sturdy level of support, that could very much be a nice level of resistance for continuation lower, back into low there at 17.05. So I can see USD-ZAR heading a lot lower. That's my bias. That's been my bias for about a month at least now. I still think that's going to be the bigger move, but we have formed support really well here. We could perhaps rally again. So keep an eye for the buys for now. Only look for shorts until we get the breakout. And then, yeah, we can speak about hopefully a retest and some more downside. So that's where we'll go from there. In terms of Aussie Yen, as I mentioned, I quite like the buys for this one. Longer term, bit more of a swing bias for this one. But I spoke about the market structure. Again, that's kind of where my directional bias comes from. We've gone from making lower lows to higher lows and higher highs. I'm now looking at something like this for Aussie Yen. So the plan is, can we find a pullback? Can we find the higher low? And can we keep buying this back to highs and perhaps higher? So drop into the 4-hour chart. Of course, we've seen successive lower highs here, but this looks like just a big corrective channel, maybe a big bull flag pattern, which eventually I do expect to continue higher. We've got a lovely range here where we consolidated and then eventually broke out with some healthy momentum. So this is a nice area of demand. Lines up pretty well with the 0.5 of the fib, 0.618 rest just slightly below, but in general, we've got a nice fib confidence to the trade, and of course, you've got the low of the channel there as well. So basically, for Aussie Yen, I'm looking for another move down for a rejection of this area around 94.5, and then from there is where I'm looking to take some swings, at least back to the upper end of the channel, but more so back to resistance, and maybe, if I'm lucky, a break of that resistance for continuation. So I'm pretty bullish on Aussie Yen. The plan is, can we find the next higher low? We've got one over here to create the high. Now I'm anticipating another one to create another high. And that's the swing bias I've got right now. At the moment, we're kind of just consolidating here. I don't see much an opportunity unless maybe trying to take some short-term buys or shorts off the high of the range or the low of the range on like an intraday chart. Maybe, but I'd rather look for the swings here. So that's very much what I'm waiting for. And in terms of New Zealand CAD, so I can see the head and shoulder you're talking about. It's left head, right shoulder. I think that makes sense there. Possibly you could be in for a move down. of course, that would be the neckline for the pattern. So I can definitely understand that. The only reason why I'm not the biggest fan of the pattern is just because of the conditions of the market being very, very flat. Again, just because we are flat and consolidating doesn't mean necessarily that the trade's not going to play out. It could very much play out, absolutely. It's just when I'm taking head and shoulder patterns, I see them as reversal patterns, and likewise with inverse head and shoulders as reversal patterns. So in terms of really getting the best out of those patterns, you want them to be at the top of trends or at the bottom trends in trending conditions. And because we're flat and we're trading in the middle of a range, it's not the best use of it, at least in my opinion anyway. So that's probably why I'll stay away. But again, it could play out. I've seen patterns like this play out in ranges before. I've seen head and shoulders within a range play out too. It's just not something I'll look to trade because I see them more as trend reversal patterns, not so much as patterns that I will trade in the range. I mean, strictly speaking, I try to stay away from the middle of the range in kind of all scenarios. So if there's a head and shoulder pattern or another pattern or whatever, I try to stay away. I'd rather try and pick the lows or pick the highs of the range rather than trade in the middle. So that's kind of just one of my rules. You mentioned the 200 MAs there as well. I've only got EMAs there. Let's add the MA. So the 200 on the daily. Oh, keep clicking 9. There we go. So yeah, I mean, we're kind of dancing around the 200. I mean, you could argue that today's candle's kind of trading into the 200 there, so it could pull back down as it rejects it, and that could of course add some confidence to the trade as well. Yeah, I mean, it's the conditions the most important thing for me. Of course, I know the 200 will provide resistance and support, and it's a great confidence to have in a trade, but just the conditions aren't great. So that's kind of what puts me off the trade. But again, doesn't mean that we can't respect it and can't push back down. So that would be my main kind of worry with the position. But yeah, I can see well we do see that move. What position I'm currently holding? I'm long pound Aussie. I've held that position for almost a couple of weeks now. It'll be 2 weeks on Thursday. I entered this 7th of August, so 2 weeks ago Thursday. It's been a bit of a slow one, but it has picked up momentum, so I can't complain too much. It started off a bit slow, but we've seen some nice momentum. We're starting to consolidate again, but hopefully if you can break to the upside, we'll see another swing. I have trailed my stops into a bit of profit, so worst case scenario, we're not going to take a loss on the position. The stop loss is just a few pips underneath the low here. I'm looking for a little bit more upside, at least back to the high of the range here, because that's essentially all I was looking for, buying off the low, taking it back to resistance. That was the original plan for the trade. If we can get there, great, fantastic. And yeah, if we can catch a breakout, great. I think we can push all the way to resistance here at 2.14. So there's potential, there's upside potential for the trade. It just really depends if we do see a successful break of resistance or not. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We'll have to manage it actively. So when we get there, I'll see what we're getting. Are we getting strong candle closures above resistance? Or is price throwing wicks into that area and respecting it well? Well, if it's the latter, I'll close the trade and move on to the next one. That's my only position at the moment. Mohammed, please do not spam the chat, or I'll have to remove you. I can read your message, mate. Henry just joined. What pair? Yeah, the pair is on the chart, in the middle with the time frame as well. If you can't see it, I can make it a little bit brighter. If you're having difficulty seeing it. Okay, you're in a buy right now from 95.650. That's what I was asking about. I think, okay, no problem. Eurocab picked up momentum. Okay, we can have a look at that as well. I'll go for GJ for Mohammed. No problem, Poppy. I've been struggling to find a trade for the last few weeks. I'll wait to find something better. Yeah, I think, again, I don't want to talk you out of the trade, because the worst thing to do is talk someone out of the trade and the trade plays out. Then you're like, again, trading, again, from an individual perspective of trade, it doesn't mean much as long as you can manage risk. So if you do take a trade and it does turn out to be a loser, as long as you had good merit for the trade, good what's the word? The analysis made sense. You know, you can't be too upset with yourself, even for the trade that you just mentioned right now. Like I said, I prefer in trending conditions, but again, I've seen them play out in ranges before, but it's just nothing I focus on myself. But I'm always a big fan of quality over quantity anyway. And yeah, if you haven't traded in the last few weeks, that's going to play in your mind a little bit as well, which is definitely going to make things tougher. So I definitely do relate to that, Poppy, 100%. Anyway, I'll go take a look at EuroCAD, and then we can take a look at GJ. Okay, no problem, Mohammed. Just please do not spam the chat. And then we can... I'll probably wrap things up with my watch list, to be honest, because I haven't actually gone through that yet. And we are approaching the end pretty soon. So yeah, EuroCAD momentum's picking up. Yeah, I'll be careful though. I'll be careful. Yeah, the trend is bullish. Yeah, it looks like we're still continuing. Do you want to find some buys here? Maybe if I'm intraday trading, sure. Momentum's up. I can take advantage of maybe a nice intraday move. Maybe a move for the US session. I don't mind that, but I wouldn't look for a sustained move, because we're at highs. The market's been trending for a while. We're quite stretched, maybe a bit overbought as well. We haven't been at these highs for quite some time. So I wouldn't be looking for a big swing trade here. Yes, the market is definitely bullish. Momentum's still picking up. Consistent higher lows here. So yes, the buys make sense. But as we approach resistance up here, I'll be very much getting ready to take positions off, maybe trail some stops aggressively, and being a bit careful of the position, because I do think at some point a bigger pullback will happen. I mean, if you look at previous structure here, we create a major high, swept the high, create a new high, big pullback happened. Create a new high, swept the previous high, a bigger pullback happened. Create a new high, swept the previous high, potentially a bigger pullbacks on the cards here. I'm not saying it's guaranteed to happen, but based on what the market's been doing in the past few swings, we could potentially expect something like that to happen. You know, we have been moving in a bit of a channel here, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see something like that happen again. Therefore, yes, the market is bullish. Yes, buys make sense, but I wouldn't be too greedy with the buys. And if we can get it back to resistance, that's where I'll start being a bit watchful of the trade and be prepared to close things if things start look like they're about to turn bearish. So yeah, EuroCAD momentum's picked up well, but I wouldn't get too carried away. That's my biggest advice there. In terms of pound yen, no problem. Yusuf, happy to help. Okay, it's more than 200 MA. It's not really being respected as structure. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, the 200 hasn't really provided much respect there, to be honest. It would be nice if it was being rejected a little bit more aggressively, then maybe the trade could look a little bit better. But yeah, as for pound yen, a lot of consolidation here. I'm kind of just getting ready for price to break to the upside or break to the downside, really, in terms of an opportunity. Right now, pound yen just looks like a lot of noise to me. We are trading at some major resistance, so I think this is a really significant area for pound yen, and either which way, there's probably a big trade to be had. But this is just a big level of resistance, and if we can break it to the upside, great. I think there's some nice buying opportunities that could follow. If we do break it to the downside, then I'm looking for a push back into this level of support. So either which way, I do think there'll be a big move. At the moment, it's kind of 50-50. I'm not too sure what price is trying to do. If we do see this happens and a big break to the upside, well, the plan is pull back, then continue to buy. If we do break to the downside, then the plan is pull back and then continue to sell. and of course targets at the low. And in terms of the buys, the long-term targets are pushed all the way up there, but of course we're not going to be planning to hit that overnight there. So yeah, pound yen, I'll be patient. I'm not seeing a clear-cut opportunity. That's why I'm kind of just drawing lines in both directions essentially, because I don't have a clear-cut direction I'm favoring. I can see price breaking up, I can see price breaking down. I would wait for the kind of the clear-cut opportunity to come before I do really fixate on a direction. But yeah, that's kind of my take for pound yen for now. So in terms of my current positions, pound Aussie, gonna hold through that, see how that does develop, trail my stop loss as things go along. If we do see a strong break to the upside, I will trail my stop loss even further underneath this low. If we do break down, I'll just let the market do its thing. I've got my stop loss trailed there. If it takes me out, it takes me out. But I am looking for more upside for pound Aussie. And my preferred pair, my pair that I'm most likely to get a trade this week is probably Euro USD shorts. At the moment, still looking quite bullish or somewhat bullish. I quite like how corrected we are, so I am waiting for a strong entry, maybe a strong candle like this to really confirm momentum is breaking lower. Take some entries there, target 1 into the low, target 2 into the swing low. So yeah, Euro USD is going to have a lot of my attention. But yeah guys, I'll let you know if I do get into any of the positions, but we have reached the end of the stream. I hope you have found it useful, enjoyed it, found it informative, educational. If that's the case, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Share it with your friends, and of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. I'm live again tomorrow, same time as always, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, pop in, come say hi, and we'll have a good time, guys. But thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Introducing Zenthrick's AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zenthrick's AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zenthrick. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.